Hello, the SideQuest Gamer here, and for my first review, I am going to review Super Mario Bros. 2. No, I'm talking about the US version of Super Mario Bros. 2. Basically, in 1986, a sequel to the first Super Mario game came out for the Famicom Japanese console. But because us Americans are too stupid to handle this ridiculously hard adventure, and I mean it's harder than Kid Icarus, the guys at Nintendo basically took the Japanese game Yum Kojo Doki Doki Panic and changed them with Mario sprites. I know it sounds cheap and unreasonable, but this game was actually a better game than the Japanese sequel. I mean, sure, it abandoned the original gameplay of the first game, but if you hate it for that reason, then go play the Japanese sequel and enjoy tackling the landborne bloopers. The Japan sequel is called The Lost Levels in Super Mario All-Stars, and also known as the Secret Levels on the Game Boy Color collaboration Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, but I am not here to review the Japanese sequel. Let's get back to the US version. Okay, it's not the best game in the Mario series, but definitely in the top 10 and a lot better than the Japanese counterpart. Overall, the level design is good. There's doors, there's clouds, and a wide variety of enemies. However, with 4 characters to choose from, some levels seem to be designed specifically for other characters than Mario. For instance, there are areas that you have to fall down the screen, and when the screen scrolls down, you see spikes at the bottom. Unless you have good reflexes, you will lose health, or die unless you use Princess Peach's float ability, which really comes in handy. So level design can be unfair occasionally, but it's not difficult. Speaking of the characters, this game lets you choose which character you play as. Unlike the first game, each character has their own special abilities. Mario is the most balanced player, Luigi jumps the highest, Toad can pick up things the fastest, and Peach has the aforementioned floating ability that lasts for 2.5 seconds. They all have their weaknesses, like Mario being average, where he doesn't excel in any ability, or fail in any ability either. Luigi's high jump is floaty to the point where it's difficult to dodge some enemy projectiles before landing. Peach takes the longest to uproot vegetables and can't jump very high, but she has a float ability, so it doesn't matter. And Toad has the weakest jump of all the characters. I personally use Peach and Mario the most since their strengths and weaknesses are balanced enough to the point where it's not problematic when dealing with enemies or traversing through obstacles. There are no returning enemies from the first Super Mario Bros. However, this game did introduce the infamous suicide bomber Bob-Omb and the Shy Guy, who both became staples. This game also introduced the meanest cactus in gaming, Pokey, who also became a series staple. The Shy Guy subspecies also return in later games like Sniffits, and the mid-bosses of the games, Birdo, returns but only in the Mario RPG series and some of the later Mario sports games. The music is creatively orchestrated in its 8-bit glory, and I consider it to be the best in the trilogy. I'm sorry if you like the original Super Mario Bros. Music, but I've heard that theme and the underground theme a little too much and kind of became mundane in other Mario games. And the graphics are decent for 1988. One thing I absolutely love about this game is the boss battles. The bosses are actually different. I mean, sure, the Mouser and the Tri-Clyde are later reused, but it's a better variety than the Japanese sequel, which had 8 fake Bowsers, and the real deal has the same attributes of the later fakes. I also like how on nearly every level you fight a mid-boss known as Birtle. These fights get harder and harder as the game progresses, but adds a new challenge to the series. The graphics in the game didn't particularly age well, but they are colorful and vibrant. The sprites are my favorite in the NES trilogy, and age the best out of all 3 of the games. They differentiated the Mario Brothers, and the enemy sprites look intimidating in a childlike sense. The Phanto enemies are especially scary when you steal a key, and they chase you down until you drop the key or reach the locked door the key unlocks. The first game's enemy sprites were good for its time, but the Koopa Troopa enemies weren't scary and looked rather stupid. However, Bowser with his pupilless eyes looked like a demonic psycho, but that's it. In this game, the enemies look more animated and full of life. Even the main antagonist, Ward, has a well-designed sprite where you know he's the leader. Overall, I would give this game a 91 out of 100. I loved it, and many people do. I welcome change if it's good change. I personally wish there were more Mario games like this, but unfortunately, there aren't maybe because the sequel alienated those who wanted something like the Japanese sequel. To this day, some Mario fans hate this game, but if you are an open-minded gamer, I strongly encourage you to play this game. In some aspects, it's better than the first one, although if you want a better version of this game, I recommend the Super Mario All-Stars version on the SNES, since it was upgraded with better graphics and ditched the two continue system in favor of saving your progress. Therefore, it's a more fair experience. The Game Boy Advance version, known simply as Super Mario Advance, is also worth checking out, since it changes up the gameplay and has an exclusive boss. So until next time, this is the SideQuest Gamer signing off.